Alright. I know you do like training tool comparisons with like different build subs. Did you do one for your damage from 1690 compared to now or something like this? Since I have the log, I just keep track of my best performances on each raid and then sort of keep track of it. I also keep track of my burst rotation when I do like a start of a raid and I know I have full buffs on a boss, that kind of stuff. When I do raids next week, I'll know exactly kind of where I'm at. The main thing that I decided is that my crit rate needs to be 100% when I reach adrenaline stacks, and for that to happen the crit rate has to be 75%. So your target as crit, which mine's like exact, is 75% crit. And then if I could, I would get rid of Ether Predator and take Cursed Doll if I had the books. I would also probably do Stabilized Status instead of Ether because it's more upfront damage. From there, your arc passive, the main thing is you want 75% crit rate as your target. However, you got to get there, you know, like your Precise Dagger Stone, your Keen Sense, your Zealous Smite. Also in the Enlightenment tree, you can use Quick Draw to up it. But getting to 75 means when Adrenaline and your Crit Sin are on the boss, you're at 100% crit, and then you use your Quick Fire. Anytime that I wasn't below 75% crit rate, it seemed like no matter what I did, Quickfire would not crit on one of the shots that it does. So as long as you're at 100%, Quickfire will 100% crit, and then you're maximizing your damage. So like to me, everything revolves around Quickfire critting at 100% crit rate, and then everything else outside of that kind of just falls into place. So for me, because of the level 3 Precise Stone and all that stuff, I'm able to run 2 in Keen Sense, and then 1 in Limit Break, 1 in Zealous Smite, and 1 in Destruction Charger. So if I gained, 12% crit rate, I would get rid of this Zealous Smite and put it in Destruction Charger. Or if I gain 8%, I would take it out of this. You'd kind of just follow that principle of 75% crit and however you're getting there, and then you just make sure that you proc Adrenaline before you use a Quickfire. And then now, because I have, you would be so lost coming up with this stuff on your own. I mean, it's that way because I've been playing it for so long, And then with Shining Bullet 2.8% now, I try to also make sure that I get a Shining Bullet proc on the Quickfire, because then you're really maximizing that damage. And then I do miss the Naruto running with Hurricane, but you really need to just quickly get it off with Quick Storm, so that's what I run that. For the rings, because my crit rate is so high everywhere else, I actually bought 4% crit damage rings, and then I got lucky and I got these 0.4% crit rate cuts on them. But even if these rings didn't have crit rate on them, I wouldn't really care because it's 0.4%. It just so happens to make 75% perfect. If I didn't have crit on the rings, I would just take 1 point out of Shining Bullet and put it into Quick Draw, and then you make up for that. But it made my accessories a lot easier to get the best crit damage on for the rings. The one accessory I need to update is my earring, and then these are second tier outgoing and additional. At some point I'll get the weapon power and attack power on the second earring, but the cost of upgrading that earring is more than the 0.75% increase I could get with mass increase. And so once the prices on mass increase go to like 90k, I'll probably start buying the mass increase books. So that's my Act 3 Pistoleer build for you. Yeah, it's the upgrades are pretty straightforward. I also just rolled this incoming damage reduction weapon power on the chest for prog. 10% damage reduction is so overpowered versus 800 attack power or something. 760 attack power versus 10% damage reduction. I mean, come on, that's pretty crazy. Then if the prices drop on mass increase, I'll probably buy stabilized at some point and swap stabilized in for Ether Predator. It doesn't have a cooldown, it's just flat 10% damage reduction. So you definitely want it for prog. There's zero reason to not try to get a optimized chest piece. That's the build.